I think it's no surprise to anyone to hear that I absolutely loved the 2 world betas. Everything, down to the combat, the changes and improvements to the weapons, the beautifully designed areas, the living ecosystem, and most importantly, the monsters were just fantastic. With a roster consisting of mostly new monsters, World looks to be the biggest breath of fresh air the series has had since Try on the Wii, having the majority of the roster consisting of new monsters with a few returning ones. And with the confirmation by the developers that there will be more monsters added into the game after release via DLC, I think it's time that we start dreaming. We all have our hopes and dreams for what kinds of monsters we want to be in the game, and more importantly, what monsters will make it in. And I think it's important for me to share my dream list of monsters I would like to see make it into Worlds, as DLC. Now, as a side note, this is my dream list of monsters I would like to see make it in, and as such all comes down to my subjective opinion. But of course, if you don't see a monster you want in the game on here, or if you share a different opinion than me, then great! I would love to hear you guys' opinions in the comment section below, as we all inherently have our own dream of monsters we would like to see make it in. And I believe sharing and discussing our opinions will help us see the other's point of view and even allow for interesting conversations. Another thing to point out before we get started is the recently discovered leaked list of monsters that are supposedly going to make it in, and those are going to be in the game when the full game comes out. There's no confirmation whether this is going to be real or not, but just to play it safe, I will not be putting any of the monsters on the leak list on here. And if you want to know what that leak list looks like, look in the description below and see for yourself. The reason why I'm not showing it in the video is because of any purist out there who may want to avoid spoilers at all costs, even if it's a leak list. So as such, I'm not showing it in this video, and you can spoil yourself to that if you wish to. Lastly, the following list of monsters are in no particular ranked order, and the numbers displayed on there are just entries. These are just a list of monsters I would like to see make it into World. I may have some monsters I may want to see more than others, but overall these are just monsters I would like to see in general make it back into World. With all that said, let's get hunting! Among the many flagships that the series has, and when it comes especially to the 4th generation, I find that the Aegeus is often an overlooked monster in favor of others such as Gore and the Fated Four. Which is a shame, as I find the Aegeus to be a very creative monster, and a worthy rival to the King of the Skies. Introduced in 4 Ultimate Story Mode. Post-story mode? Post-game? Whatever. Aegeus served an important role in the story, as the displaced, invasive, rare species that was even more of a threat to the Mind Guard Guild than the oncoming Kushala attack. If that doesn't display the threat of this monster and what it could do to the environment, then I don't know what will. And compared to other flying monsters such as Rathalos, Aegeus was no slouch on the battlefield. The Aegeus consisted of various quick, fleeting strikes that, while might not deal the most damage in the world, had the potential to combo and stun the hunters if they were not careful. Plus, there was always the problem of its special status condition, Bleed. Yes, that's right, Bleed. This monster wants to cut you up from the very inside with its razor-sharp claws and scales. It may not have been very damaging, but it was a fast-paced battle for sure, with me always having to seemingly move to reposition myself accordingly with its air swoops and fast kicks. And honestly speaking, I just think Aegeus would fit really well in a game with faster paced combat and mechanics. Plus, the environment would allow for some new battle strategies against and for the Aegeus. Having it get stuck on trees and rocks, having the scales it launches fling into surrounding objects, and even allowing it to pick up objects in the environment via its talons to throw or use against you. I mean, if it can pick up a hunter and chuck them halfway across the stage, it could do the same to, say, a rock or even a tree trunk. But the main reason why I want it back is due to its hyper-aggressive nature. As an invasive species, Aegeus could barge into quests without any warning, and instantly throw the ecosystem into discord, wrecking any of the lower tier monsters, and being more than a match for the apex predators such as Rathalos. And due to it being an invasive species, it could be capable of invading a multitude of habitats, such as the ancient forest, wild spire waste, coral highlands, and even the new volcano zone. One last small thing as well, we never truly know where Aegeus originally lived. All that is known about its species from the story mode is that they all lived someplace far away, and had to move out when the apex Aegeus was born. So honestly speaking, having the setting take place in an uncharted location, a new world, so to speak, could shed some insight on everyone's favorite prickly pine cone. Oftentimes, the monsters that stand out the most to us are the ones that are unique, the ones that feel so strange, yet believable all the same. And to me, one of the most standout monsters in 4 Ultimate was easily the Wache. The spider monkey lemur, or sugar glider spider monkey lemur, I don't know, this combination of monsters, so who knows what this thing really is, was relatively easy in terms of difficulty, but was creative in design and battle, and was instrumental in teaching the hunter about verticality. As a spider monkey-like monster, Wache would often hang from any vines that were in the area, and would mainly attack using its talons, using its trunk to spit globs of mucus at you, and by using its gliding membrane to glide through the air for some more momentum or for some deadly swooping attacks. And honestly, the main reason why I want him back is just how creative he was, and how he could fit with the ancient forest. Of course, he'd be a low-level predator in terms of the ecosystem, but would use his gliding skills to reach areas hunters normally could not, and could use the low-hanging vines and objects inside the tree to climb and even attack unsuspecting hunters. And thanks to the addition of a gliding mantle, you may even be able to counter Wache's gliding with it. Plus, having objects in the environment to interact with, such as getting stuck on vines or crashing headfirst into a tree while gliding, would be pretty cool and even funny as well. And really, I just don't know how else to end this other than just with Wache being a creative monster. It would be honestly such a waste to see a monster as uniquely designed and creative as this just simply go to waste and never be used again. And plus, seeing him perform some of the most acrobatic moves we've ever seen in the series in HD would be pretty cool as well. You know, just saying. As I've said before, the 3rd generation is home for me. It was where my love for Monster first began, and even now, I still come back to it to experience things that may never come back for later games. And no matter what, I will always hold the 3rd gen high in regard for bringing in a unique roster of memorable monsters. One of those memorable monsters just so happens to be a 3rd on this list, the Aegeus. Being a land-based leviathan in a game that has a love for underwater combat, be that how you make it out to be, the Aegeus fights pretty uniquely. Okay, sure, it's got the usual leviathan moves such as the body hip check, a laser beam, and a few other things, but where the Aegeus shines is in its main mechanic. You see, over the course of the battle, the armor on Aegeus will begin to cool off and harden, becoming harder and harder to the point where not even purple sharpness will penetrate. And so, the whole gimmick of the battle revolves around having the Aegeus heat up its armor again, whether through burrowing, using its heat beam, or even using a fire weapon to heat up the armor. There are so many ways you can tackle the Aegeus and defeat it. And with all the new mechanics, changes, and items introduced in the world, I think we can make even more strategies for him. Leveling the terrain to make part of it fall into lava, thus submerging parts of Aegeus into it, using bombs to heat up the armor, and even collapsing parts of the wall on top of him. Plus, with the newly introduced Volcano Zone, with Lava Seal and Urgan already confirmed, I think having Aegeus in the mix would be perfect. And just being able to hear those glorious laser beams and clacks on the PS4 and HD would be just, oh, it would be glorious. Praise the clackety lava duck. Okay, honestly, I'm not going to build up all this and try to be dramatic, because you all know what it is. You all know who is on this spot, and you all know who exactly I'm talking about. It's an ogre. And honestly, how could I not want him to be back? He is such a unique and iconic monster within the franchise that it would be a missed opportunity to not have him in the game. Zinogre's AI and body shape would be perfect for an area such as the Ancient Forest, and having him in a game like this would allow for all new strategies, getting stuck in vines, collapsing terrain above him, and I can imagine even using the environment and objects in it to stop the Fulgur bugs from being drawn into him. Heck, maybe even have him use the tracking bugs to trick you? Who knows, honestly. I'm just daydreaming. If he was in the game, Zinogre would be a top predator, of course, easily destroying competition from the lower levels and being more than a match for the apex of the area. And plus, being able to see how he would interact with the other monsters would be so cool, and how perhaps lower tier monsters run for the hills while he continues to strut onwards all the while, or maybe even see him pulling off all these acrobatic moves against an opponent. Just, so good. The point I'm getting at with all this is that Zinogre and what he does is just perfect for a game like this. There's so much you can do with this monster, and how he interacts with the environment that it's crazy. Plus, introducing a ton of new Fane Wyverns to be in this game, yet not having the original would just be unfair, honestly. What else can I say in this segment other than Hail to a Monarch? No, really, this is all I have to say. I don't know what else to say that it hasn't already been said about Zinogre and what could be introduced in his battle. That's it. Next entry. This one may be a bit odd to see on a list like this, especially when I just listed my favorite monster right before this. But honestly speaking, out of all the monsters I listed previously, this one is the one I see the most potential in. The one that would shake up the hunt and how you approach it. The one that would have loads of new changes and additions to it. And the one that would give hunters a unique but memorable experience. Run for the hills if he starts tooting his horn, or you'll be mourned. A troll of a monster originating from the 3rd generation, Qurupeco is a low-tier monster encountered in a deserted island and sandy plains. It attacks by spitting globs of mucus that lower your defense, clapping its flintstones together multiple times to create sparks of flame, and even just pecking at hunters with its beak or smacking them with its tail. While physically weaker than other monsters on this list, Qurupeco more than makes up for it with its trademark devilish ability. The ability to mimic the calls of other monsters. By expanding out its throat sac, Qurupeco can make various calls to heal and buff itself, and more importantly, summon other monsters onto the field. And here's where the potential starts to kick in. Qurupeco can call in a variety of monsters, from small monsters such as the Melinx, Jaggies, and Ludroth, to large monsters such as the Royal Ludroth, Rathian, and even the almighty Pickle itself, Deviljho. This factor alone is enough to make me want it back. The fact that it can change up the hunt in a mere second and force everyone to strategize and or run for the hills is just amazing. And with such an open ecosystem in each level, not having the Qurupeco be there would be a missed opportunity. Just imagine all the new possibilities for monsters it could call in now, all the new strategies you can make for it, and all the new devilish tactics it could do. And that's not even considering how it would interact with its environments, whether it be the ancient forest or even the wild spire waste. Just seeing the devilish tricks this monster could pull off would make me happy, as I look on in the distance as new and old hunters alike scream for their life when a Deviljho barges into the area. Ah, good times. And despite how short this list has seemed, that's all I have, honestly speaking. These are my 5 monsters I would love to see make it back into World, as DLC. And so, with my list all said and done, and my opinions shared, let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of this video and the various opinions I shared. I love seeing interesting discussions like this, and I think sharing our opinions like this will allow for more new interesting discussions in the future, and insight into what we all think. Plus, I just think sharing each other's opinions about what monsters we would love to see just makes me giddy. Because, you know, we all have that dream list out there of what monsters we would like to see make it in. And whether you're a new person to this channel or not, be sure to hit that like button, favorite, share, subscribe, anything to do to help support my channel and the content I produce. It means a lot to know that you guys care for someone as small as me, and are willing to do something as this. Anything you guys do will help support the content I make and all my future endeavors. And plus, it'll just be interesting to see what you guys think of this video and the reaction you guys have. Who knows, maybe I might make more videos like this in the future. With all that being said, I have been the Monarch of Dragons. I hope you all have a fantastic day / night, wherever you live. Peace!